Sup, you chuckle fucks? It's your boy, Dark Raku here with What If Issei Hero was a descendant of Sparta. Now, this is the redo, not part 2, this is redo. Unless you want me to do part 2 for, what's it called, the non-redo one? The one that was like 5-6 months old, or, yeah, you get the point. But if you want me to redo that one, you can just say part 2 of that one, or you can say redo part 2 of that, this one. Which is gonna be confusing. Not the point. Whatever, just say which one you want me to do. I'll go back and rewatch it. If you don't want me to do that, and you want me to continue on with this story, I will do this one instead. But I'm gonna be redoing the what if, because 2 reasons. Since that was like one of my beginning what ifs, and I didn't know many characters of DxD because I'm a fucking retarded idiot. Yeah, that's nice, but not the point. Let me just begin into this what if. Let me shut the fuck up. I might not continue. I might keep some characters still the same from the old one. I can still remember some of them. Other than that, I might have to change a bit of the story and how I really want it to go, because the other one was just kind of following the DxD kind of storyline of the anime. But yeah, since mostly any new anime I start and do any what ifs on it, I kind of like try to continue on with the story. Other than that, when I actually get used to the story and other things and other characters, I just change it the fuck up. But yeah, I mean, that's what I did most of the time in Naruto what ifs. But yeah, not the point. I should also really finish with some shit in fucking first channel. I really haven't been there on 1 month. But yeah, I've been way too focused. Okay. Also, I really want to say one thing. Yesterday, I really didn't upload a video. I could have uploaded this one, but my head was too kind of going into multiple scenarios, somewhat, and multiple what-if ideas, but not the point. They were all confusing as hell. I don't know why I was thinking that much, but that's probably because I was nervous a little bit. But that's not the point. Also, I was playing Pokemon yesterday. Yeah, I bought Pokemon for my Nintendo Switch. I should somehow try to record and stream it, or just record or stream it so I can upload it on my first channel or second channel, but whatever. Because this still is considered my gaming channel, or not really. This is my, you know what, never mind. But yeah, I was just playing Pokemon, because fuck it, I don't care. I don't care if it's for little kids. Guess what? I'm still gonna fucking play it because I love Pokemon. I have deja vu from just playing black and white Pokemon. Yeah, Restaurant Zekrom. I lost the fucking game when I was a child, which I'm still upset as hell to this day, but not the point. But that's, yeah, I'm rambling on right now, I might not. Okay, whatever. Let me begin this as what if. Let me shut the fuck up. So, we begin into mostly Rias Grimory's Barrage and Issei Hiro being in Rias Grimory's Barrage. Now, of course, they're going to the familiar forest, just like original canon. Of course, Issei did have to lose his grunt for most of the time in the freaking Dodgeball game. Of course, this is where Kaneko managed to get revenge for him against Sanji. Now, Sanji was gone for the whole, well, mostly fight of the Dodgeball game. But yeah, this is where Issei was mostly scared of the Dodgeball game because, well, everyone started using magic. It was no longer a human kind of like contest of like Dodgeball. It was basically magic versus magic at that point. Which Issei was scared, but mostly every time when magic tried to hit him or any of that, this is where, well, he had actually mostly be able to dodge quickly. It's just his body wasn't fast enough most of the time. So of course, most of the time he got hit by magic. From most of the time, it was from the what's it called, student council, and some of them might have been from his teammates by accident, but mostly of the student council trying to target the pervert, even though he was already out. But yeah, it was actually quite annoying him a lot. But mostly he stayed calm and just sat there, not trying to get hit. But yeah, but they still managed to secure the what's it called, go into the familiar forest for mostly, yeah. Now, we go into the familiar forest. The familiar forest situation still happened the same, somewhat the same. Mostly, we go into mostly Azia managing to get her spike dragon, her lightning baby dragon, and of course to be her familiar. And of course, it doesn't like males, so of course when Issei gets close, he gets electrified. But yeah, this is where, well, Mostly before they started leaving, because Issei didn't get a familiar, something actually tried to attack them in an instant. This is where, well, mostly the familiar forest master wasn't expecting this, but it was actually like a serpent. A kind of like serpent that has like 3 heads. Tries to attack them all, which managed to kind of like try to attack Issei because he was the weakest, because he was the lowest magic out of everyone. So of course, mostly dragged Issei through the forest and kind of like threw him into mostly a tree line. This is where, well, Issei, before he was actually going to be kind of like, well, not really, well, yeah, dragged away a little bit. Issei did manage to grab the sword that Kiba did manage to summon. The sword that mostly Kiba summoned was basically mostly the Holy Eraser. He grabbed it before kind of being dragged, just so he can try to stab the, what's it called? Mostly Serpent. This is where the Serpent tries to like bite at Issei's head. Issei managed to mostly duck from the tree lines, mostly from the tree behind him, mostly just duck. This is where, well, the Serpent then managed to just bite the tree instead. This is where Issei didn't just jump away, or tried to jump away, mostly run away. And of course, this is where the Serpent didn't want to let that happen. So of course, this is where, well, the Serpent tries to attack Issei again. This is where Issei managed to dodge to the right. Right now, seeing the head of the Serpent trying to bite on the ground. Now, this is where Issei turns around to see the Serpent in its full size. The Serpent's pretty fucking big. It's one of the biggest animals, but not entirely. There's still bigger animals than this. But the where, well, the Serpent has 3 heads, and where a bite, mostly where the Serpent heads bite at, it bite at the tree. The tree is right now withering away, and even the ground is kind of like being melted away. It's just shit, this thing is powerful. Damn, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die to a fucking snake with 3 heads. This is bad. This is where, well, Issei said with annoyment. This is where, well, we go into mostly Issei kind of like dodging and ducking the, what's it called, Serpent. Of course, swinging his sword kind of randomly because he still doesn't, well, he knows a little bit of sword technique, but he still needs to dodge to actually, well, he doesn't really have a perfect sword technique that he only can remember from glimpse, but yeah. This is where, well, he's getting quite annoyed with the Serpent keeps attacking him with its heads and even tail and even body. This is where mostly body slams him to the, what's it called, tree behind him, smashing into it, and this is where he coughs up a little bit of blood. This is where, well, it feels like he broke some ribs or something. This is where, well, something is actually watching this battle. This is where, well, it has this kind of eyes looking at Issei with curious look, because mostly it can feel this weird but strange and familiar energy. But this is where, well, Issei's like, damn it, I'm not gonna die. This is where Issei decides to mostly crouch down. Well, not crouch down. He puts his leg in front of him, mostly his right leg. Yeah, his right leg in front of him. His left leg in the back, because he can remember this now stance. So it's like sword technique stance. This is where, well, the only reason he can remember it right now is because he's in a life-death situation. This is where, well, with the 2 legs in the spot, this is where he puts his body towards mostly like in the middle, somewhat, well, not in the middle. Mostly he has his like hand, mostly left hand holding onto the sword, mostly behind him, like right next to him though. The sword is kind of to be like right next to him somewhat. Well, not really next to him, like it's still floating next to him, but yeah. He's holding it on with his, like, what's it called, left hand and right hand. And this is where, when the Serpent starts, well, mostly rushing towards him, this is where, well, Issei decides to let it come very close to him until he, like, swings his sword in a piercing motion to pierce the Serpent right in the middle. This is where, well, Issei managed to actually do damage this time, because mostly in the chest spot of the Serpent is where it's kind of weak point. Mostly the scales are strong enough to actually not get cut by the sword. But this is where, well, Issei managed to stab it into it, but this is where he tries to remove the sword out of the Serpent's kind of like chest, but of course it was stuck, and this is where the Serpent tries to attack Issei. Issei widens his eyes when all 3 heads try to attack him. This is where, well, before it can even attack Issei, this is where something flew out of the tree lines and decides to send lightning from its body straight towards, well, mostly the Serpent. The Serpent was right now mostly sending electricity through its body, and this is where he was getting shocked. This is where, well, he still mostly, the heads didn't get close to Issei after getting shocked to death. Well, mostly not shocked to death, but mostly just shocked enough so it can be kind of paralyzed. And this is where, well, mostly it still tried to look at Issei, but this is where something flew, like, around Issei, well, not around Issei, mostly towards Issei, grabbing Issei from the arm, mostly one of his arm, and pulling him up, and then just flying up in the air. This is where, well, two other beings appear. One appears right in front of the serpent, like a panther, like a black panther, and the other one appears to be like some kind of black golem. The black golem manages to grab the serpent in an instant, like a bear hug, while the black panther swings its kind of claws straight towards the serpent, right now cutting off one of its heads, while kind of making the like this like shadowish kind of motion. Like when he cut the head, it was also the like shadow kind of claws appearing. This is where, well, mostly the golem keeps kind of grabbing onto the serpent. This is where, well, the panther still kind of just cuts off the other two heads, killing the serpent. But yeah, this is where, well, the serpent was dead, and of course, this is where, well, the panther was now just standing next to the golem, while the golem just like drops the what's it called, serpent. This is where, well, Issei was confused. He's still kind of being held on by the bird that's right now on top of him, and the bird is really big. It's super, like, really big. This is where, well, Issei is confused, but this is where the bird decides to land down next to the others. This is where the other two kind of weird familiars. He never seen them. Of course, you're like a darker color than any of the other, like, familiars. Issei says, Who are you? Wait, can familiars even talk? This is where the bird itself says, of course we can talk, you idiot. Well, I can talk, but that's not the point. This is where, well, Issei was shocked and actually frightened a little bit from the fact that the bird actually started talking. He says, you can talk? This is where, well, the bird looks at him, scoffs, and says, of course we can talk, you idiot. What, you think I can't talk just because I'm a bird? This is where, well, Issei says, no. I'm just a little confused. I never heard any of the other familiars talk, mostly from the ones from my teammates. This is where, well, the bird scoffs and says, idiot. Well, you should pay attention more to your surroundings than just being an idiot. This is where, he says, screw you. Whatever. Of course, I should mention that Issei was using the boosted gear and trying to punch the shit out of mostly the, what's it called, serpent, but the serpent his scales were too tough, but yeah. So where, well, the familiar says, whatever. Well, hello there. We would like for you to, well, become our familiar master. Or mostly, we would like to become your familiars. This is where, well, Issei seems surprised and says, but why? Oh, well, the reason is, I will tell you later. Okay. This is where, well, Issei doesn't really know how to actually make the familiar magic circle because, well, he can. It's just a problem is with his low magic, he probably won't be able to contain 3 of them. Now, of course, the bird noticed this, and of course, decides to say, "Hey, it seems that you have such low magic reserves. Is that because you haven't learned how to unlock your full magic? What are you talking about? I see. So it seems you don't even know. Well, I will tell you this later. But do you have any uncles or aunts that just kind of like, how should I say, uncles and aunts?" This is where, well, he says, yeah, I have an uncle. His name is Dante. Dante. I see. I haven't heard that name in a while. He says, what are you talking about? Nothing. So if you can't really contract us to be your familiars, then we have another way. This is where, well, most of the familiars turn into these pieces of paper, or mostly they become these darkness kind of like paper. This is where the mostly bird says, so what we are, my name is Griffin. This is where he then points at the panther and even the golem. The panther's name is Shadow, and the golem's name is Nightmare. We are familiars that were turned into pieces of paper. If you ever want us to be in your battle, or mostly in front of you entirely, just destroy the pieces of paper that will mostly float towards you, and we will be released from these paper hold seals. Just in case, because it seems you don't have enough magic to even make a contract with us. That's right, well, Issei seems dumbfounded, but of course he decides to take 3 pieces of paper. That's right, well, he's walking away, of course trying to see for Kiba's sword, but lost it, and this is where he says, hope Kiba doesn't get mad. This is where, well, Issei is kind of walking out of the mostly tree, or mostly walking through the forest. Of course, this is where, well, his friends are trying to find him. This is where, well, Issei said, hey, guys. This is where, well, Issei kind of waves towards mostly Reyes and the others. And this is where, well, Reyes rushes up to him and says, are you okay? This is where, well, Issei says, yeah, I'm fine. I managed to defeat the Serpent. This is where, well, mostly, Kaneko says, I doubt that. You're just a perv. I'm surprised the Serpent didn't just eat you. Or probably that it didn't like the fact that you taste kind of perverted. This is where, well, mostly Issei says, how the hell can you taste pervertedness? Actually, never mind. I should not say stuff like that. Issei thinks in his head, like, how the, Whatever. This is where, well, mostly Akano says, Ara. It seems that my little Kohai managed to defeat the Serpent by himself. This is where, well, Kiba said, well, nice job. Do you have the, this is where he says, I lost the sword. I don't know where it went. I think it got destroyed during the battle. This is where, well, Kiba says, no, that's fine. This is where, well, Kiba's actually okay with it because he can just make more swords because he can use Swordbringer, but yeah. This is where, well, Reyes was super happy and saying, I'm so happy that you're okay. Next time, at least try to alert us. This is where, well, he says, how the... This is where he says, I don't... Issei really wants to just say some stuff because, first of all, he has low magic reserves, and of course, the fact that mostly they couldn't find him just because of that. How the fuck is he supposed to even alert them when he's fighting against a Serpent? A Serpent that was actually smart enough not to let go of him and try to, well, kill him by himself and not to make him, like, make any noise. This is where, well, he said, just ignore that fucking stupid ass question from Reyes. And this is where, well, he then goes up to mostly, well, Ozzy and says, hey, Ozzy, I did get a familiar. This is where, well, Ozzy seems confused and says, familiar? You did? This is where, well, all of them were shocked to actually hear that mostly Issei got a familiar. This is where Reyes thinks it's a Serpent that Issei got from mostly killing him, or mostly just got him. This is where when Ozzy was still next to mostly Issei, and of course Issei was actually about to like touch her and tell her about mostly his familiar. This is where, well, something happens. A magic, well, like, not a magic circle, well, kind of magic circle appears as being small, and of course it's a spark dragon, the mostly lightning dragon. The baby lightning dragon. The lightning dragon doesn't like any males being near its master, so of course the lightning dragon sends the lightning strike towards Issei. This is where, well, it's about to hit Issei until Issei remembers those, like, contracts and the paper. He pulls out one of the papers, and this is where it said, it started with a G, and before Issei can even react and even, like, try to rip it, he managed to get, like, the little paper kind of ripped from the side. This is where he jumped away from the spike dragon, or whatever the hell it's called. This is where the Spike Dragon was about to attack Issei again until Azir tries to calm it down, but this is where Issei fully fucking ripped the paper. This is where, well, he just shredded it. This is where, well, the paper right now turns into darkness and right now just turns into lightning itself. And of course, something appears right in front of Issei, stopping the lightning from actually smashing into Issei. Right now, absorbing the lightning. Instead, it's like a griffin, a bird appears. This is where, well, it's, well, the griffin. The bird says, what the hell? You summoned me because a stupid baby dragon tried to attack you? This is annoying. You stupid little fucking baby dragon. If you want to fucking fight, I'll right now turn you into fucking barbecue chicken right now. I don't care what the hell you are. This is where the, well, mostly bird itself right now sparks with lightning, sending lightning much more powerful than even the spark dragon can even react. This is where, well, it smashes into the ground, and this is where everyone seems, well, shocked to see a powerful familiar that Issei just summoned out. This is where, well, this bird says, stupid fucking dragon, thinking that your lightning is stronger than mine? I'll show you stronger lightning than anything you ever can see. This is where, well, Althea right now rushes to the lightning dragon, and the lightning dragon is kind of hurt, and right now also really fucking scared of the fucking, well, mostly bird itself. This is where Issei said, damn, it's like you never stop cussing. Huh? Me? Cussing? What? Why the hell would I even stop when a stupid little dragon tried to hurt you anyway? Whose dragon is that anyway? This is where, well, we'll see. Issei says, that's not the case. So that would work. So ripping it. Okay, so that's actually a good testing question thing. Yeah. Besides, also I should have mentioned that mostly if anytime the papers gets destroyed by the enemies, we can still be summoned. We're just going to be a little bit of hurtness. I see. So that there's a side effect with that. Yes. Okay. So, will you tell me more about myself, since you want to? Well, since you're here already? No, I'll talk to you later. This is the bird right now turns into the paper again, and right now kind of floats towards Issei. Issei grabs and of course puts it in his pocket. This is where, well, everyone seems shocked. Well, mostly shocked to hear. Well, mostly not shocked. First, shocked to see a freaking familiar that Issei has, and being much more powerful than the lightning dragon itself. Actually, it seems to absorb the lightning and smash it back into mostly the baby dragon with 10 times fold. Of course, the bird also seems to be really angry and annoyed and being able to talk. Of course, it seems to be really pissed the fact that the lightning dragon tried to attack Issei. Doesn't work well. Mostly, Konako is just dumbfounded to even see that the pervert got a familiar. A strong familiar, powerful enough to right now rival the lightning dragon and actually be able to kick the shit of it. Does it work? Well, Konako was surprised that the bird doesn't seem perverted at all like Issei's personality, but instead it was quite angry and annoyed, and it seems to have a mouth on him. But yeah. Yes, it worked. Well, everyone's dumbfounded, but Rias is kind of just glad to see Issei being able to have a familiar, but it was weird because mostly they're in paper form, instead of mostly being like summoned by a magic circle. This is where she will question it later, but mostly they decide to go home, and yeah. Now, when Asuya and, Asuya decides to go home with Issei, and this is where, well, Asuya seems a little bit frightened about Issei. This is where, well, Issei hasn't really noticed because, well, he's too much in thought. He's right now thinking about visiting his uncle. An uncle that's really he doesn't really like because he's quite annoying half the time, but he kind of likes him. He's decent. He's more better than his parents most of the time because mostly his uncle doesn't really care and how late he can stay up, whatever he does, blah blah blah, it doesn't really matter. Just not to bother him too much. But yeah. This is where, well, when they get to the house, this is where, well, yeah, when they get to the house, they see mostly the parents of Issei being with Goro, Hyodo, and Mika Hyodo. Hyodo is a man with kind of brownish hair, glasses and brownish eyes, but mostly the glasses kind of cover up his brownish eyes. Does it work well? He's right now, short brownish hair. Does it work well? Next to him is his wife, who is Mika Hyodo, and of course she has kind of lightish brown hair and kind of like lightish brownish eyes. This is where they were kind of saying, "Oh, you two are back. So, how's your kind of little trip in what's it called, the club?" This is where, well, Issei said it was fine. Issei said, and of course just walking past his parents. Right now, too much in thought, and right now didn't care what they actually said that much. He just said it was fine and walked away. This is where, well, Asuya has never seen Issei too much in thought and rather not say too much things about his parents. This is where, well, because he's what a rude boy himself is. So, Asuya, how was your day? This is where Asuya says, it's fine. She smiles at them. This is where, well, Issei gets into his room, and of course, well, he decides to, well, before, he was thinking of ripping the paper to actually talk to him, but decides to wait until the next day. Because the next day is basically just a weekend, and of course, he's not really going to do too much things in the Occult Research Club, so of course, he's going to just go to his uncle's house. We go to the next day, and Issei wakes up to kind of get ready. He's getting ready by putting some black boots on. This is where he puts black pants. First, black pants, black kind of socks, black boots. And this is where, well, he puts on a blue shirt, mostly a blue t-shirt, and of course, like a bluish, dark blue kind of coat. The reason why he only put it on like this is because mostly, well, he wants to just look different and not look the same with the red shirt because his uncle would give him shit about that. This is where, well, Issei is walking out of mostly his room and going downstairs. This is where his parents says, "Huh? Where are you going, Issei?" Issei says, "I'm going to my uncle's house. I'll be back later. Maybe. Don't worry about that. You can talk to Ozzy or whatever." Issei starts walking away, but this is where Ozzy decides to hold his hand and say, "Issei, can I go?" Issei says, "No." This is where, well, the only reason Issei acts kind of different when mostly Ozzy asks if she can go is because Issei knows that his uncle is still giving him shit about that. And not happening. He's not dealing with his uncle's fucking embarrassment talks half the time. Issei right now walks away from Ozzy and just going straight towards his uncle's house. Before going towards his uncle's house, he sees a man just fishing and of course sitting like near the dock, and this is where he's asleep. Issei thought, well, it'd be funny he thought of mostly taking some fish because, well, first of all, he really doesn't know what the familiars eat, so of course he was going to ask the man anyway for fish. This is right, well, Issei kind of walks close to this person, sees that the bucket's kind of empty. Well, it has some fish, and this is where, well, Issei kind of say, hey, you. This is where, well, the person woke up. He has kind of goldenish bangs, blackish hair, and of course violet eyes. This is where, well, magenta violet eyes. This is where, well, he's like, huh? Do you need something, young man? This is where, well, he says, how much is for the fish? This is where he says, this is where, well, the older man looks at him and says, and they're not for sale. This is where he says, oh, really? Oh, okay. This is where, well, he says, I just wanted one of them. It would have been the smallest. I wanted to test something out. This is where, well, the older man says, test something out. Are you some kind of scientist that just likes researching on stuff? Issei looks back at him and says, nope, that's not even the case. But whatever, I need to be going. I have things to do. This is where, well, Issei narrows his eyes at this person because he's seen this person before. If you can remember right, his name was, he can't remember. It's one of his contractors, but he doesn't care. This is where, well, mostly the person narrowed his eyes at Issei, and Issei seems to be different. He walks different, he acts different, and of course he talks kind of different also. I think I already mentioned that. But this is where, well, the person says, huh, weird. I wonder what the hell happened to that kid. He was kind of perverted and didn't really care and didn't seem mannerful that much. Wonder what happened to the kid. Maybe he grew, which is bad. I don't like young people growing up too fast. Whatever. He falls back asleep until he sees his mostly fishing line kind of just moving a lot, and this is where, well, he says, oh shit, fish. This is where he tries to like grab the fish and pull it in, and this is where a huge bassin appears right in front of him. Actually, I don't even know what type of fish will be in the ocean or whatever, or mostly at this place. This is where, well, mostly this huge fish appears, and this is where the person widens their eyes and say, holy. This is where the fish smashes into them. But yeah, Issei was already gone and just walking towards his uncle's house. Now, of course, we go into a POV, or mostly not POV, a time skip of mostly Issei getting to the house. When Issei gets to the house, it basically looks like a mansion somewhat, and mostly a dark kind of mansion. This is where, well, Issei says, my uncle should really clean up most of the time. That house looks way too dirty. I can't tell if, man, even when I was young, I could never tell if it was dirty or just that he bought it like that. Whatever. Issei kind of like opens the gate. Of course, it creaks, and this is where Issei walking in. This is where he closes the gate behind him, and this is where Issei says, "It still gives me the chills. He really needs to oil a lot of shit like this." This is where, well, he gets to the door, and when he knocks at it, he hears nothing. Issei knocks it again. Issei thinks that his uncle is still asleep, even though it's literally 10 o'clock in the fucking morning. Issei knocks again, hears no one. Issei screams out, "Hey, uncle, are you still fucking asleep? Wake your ass up already." This is where he hears a gargle kind of like going like down the stairs, because this house is kind of like a mansion somewhat, and of course it does have a second floor. And of course you can hear like mostly the stairs walking down and other stuff. This is where the door opens and saying, "What the hell do you want, you little brat?" This is where a black-haired man actually walks through. Of course, he has kind of blackish hair, but of course kind of whitish at the same time. These very darkish bluish eyes, and this is where, well, his hair is kind of like long enough, mostly, well, not long enough. He has kind of long bangs, so of course it covers up his face most of the time. This is where, well, he managed to push back his bangs back towards the like back of his head, and this is where, well, he then looks at Issei. He does have like some kind of, well, mostly, well, he does have like someone like blackish hair kind of growing on his like face, but it pretty much it looked like he just shaved a while ago. This is where, well, Issei said, "Yo, uncle." This is where, well, mostly the person now known as Issei's uncle kind of said, "What the hell do you want, Issei?" Issei says, "I just came here to talk." "Okay, what do you want to talk?" "I want to talk about something. Can we go inside?" Does it wear well? His uncle sighs and says, fine. Get inside, you little brat. Let me get some coffee also when I'm in the fucking kitchen. Does it wear well? He says, okay, okay. Sorry if I woke you up. What the fuck did he even do yesterday night? I dealt with some damn devils, what do you think? He seems surprised, but does it wear well? He then stays quiet. Does it wear well? His uncle says, it's just a joke, brat. Why are you taking it seriously? Does it wear well? Issei says, no, nothing. Does it work well? Issei pulls out the familiar papers, and does it work well? When he pulls them out, for some reason they start glowing. And does it work well? Issei seems confused. They are right now glowing a very lightish blue color, but this is where Issei didn't go to the kitchen, but started walking towards mostly a direction that mostly this bluish paper signature energy started kind of going towards. This is where Issei was looking around the mansion until the bluish paper started becoming darker and darker and darker, when he's getting to mostly like a bookshelf kind of case. This is where Issei looks at the bookshelf case until he noticed one book was glowing bluish, and it was quite thin. That's where, well, Issei said, what the hell is that? This is where, well, the papers themselves flowed up in an instant and ripped, well, mostly just torn apart in an instant. This is where they summon the familiars. This is where, well, Issei says, oh shit. This is where the familiars actually shrunk themselves to be quite small and not damage too much stuff. But this is where, well, mostly the bird was still the same size, and this is where the bird flew up towards mostly the like book that was kind of glowing, grabbing it and right now dropping it towards Issei. This is where when Issei caught it, the book wasn't glowing anymore, but instead it had a V in the front of the book. Didn't really have a name, nothing or any of that. When he turns around to the back of the book, it really doesn't have anything. But this is where Issei seems confused. He opens it and it says the first name that right now appears. Virgil Sparta. Pretty much it's just like a somewhat like written poem stuff that mostly Virgil kind of writes, but yeah. This is where, well, Issei says, Virgil Sparta? Who's that? This is where, well, someone was actually behind him, and most of the familiars already noticed, but this is where, well, mostly Issei kind of heard like this person sipping like the coffee drink or whatever, and this is where Issei turns around, it's none other than his uncle. His uncle said, huh, it seems that you already discovered the familiars that your mostly great-grandfather left for you. This is where Issei says, what are you talking about? You still don't know. Why do you think I'm your uncle? I'm not even related close to being your, what's it called, father's brother or any of that. Pretty much, I'm mostly your uncle, well, mostly a distant uncle somewhat. But that's not the point. I'm mostly your brother's, well, mostly your mother's brother. She's the one connected towards the family. The family bloodline tree, mostly. The Spartan family. Is this a Spartan family? Issei seems confused, kind of like turning his head confusedly. This is where, well, his uncle says, let me explain, Issei. This is where we go into a time skip of Dante right now explaining it. Or mostly Dante's descendant, because this man is Dante's descendant. Issei seems shocked and right now just amazed on how his uncle knows so much knowledge. He explains that this library here was actually created by mostly his grandfather also, Dante Sparta, and also Nero Sparta, but yeah, and also Virgil Sparta, but that's not the point. He explains that mostly the Spartan family can live longer than any other kind of human race, because they were basically descendant of a devil named, mostly a devil slayer named Sparta. And of course, a history of Sparta and other stuff. And this is where, well, this is where Dante explains that Issei is basically the older son of Sparta's descendant, being that of Virgil Sparta. This is where Issei seems shocked and amazed. This is where Issei says, that's so cool. His eyes right now twinkle into stars. And this is where, well, he didn't shake his head and say, for real. Then you're the descendant of the younger brother? Yep, Dante Sparta. You still could have kicked the shit out of Virgil Sparta. Issei narrowed his eyes and says, yeah, right. I heard that he was so fast from what you told me. Even though he was so fast, I wouldn't say he was stronger and much more amazing than my grandfather. This is what Issei says. He scoffs and says, whatever, jerk. This is where, well, mostly Dante chuckles and says, still, kid, it seems that I'm quite surprised that you managed to get the familiars of mostly Virgil's familiars. also known as V's familiars. They were a piece of mostly Virgil's mind after mostly splitting up. He explains the full fact that mostly Virgil just split himself with a sword called Yamamoto. Or not Yamamoto, Yamato. I don't know why I say Yamamoto, but Yamato. This is where, well, Issei says, so that's why they can talk? Yep. They were a part of mostly Angelo or whatever. And of course, yeah, they were mostly a part of mostly Virgil's mind after splitting himself. But yeah, I see. That's so cool. This is where Issei right now has so many stars in his eyes and just twinkling so much. And this is where, well, his uncle chuckles and says, still, so, how you like about our family tree line? So Issei says, that's so fucking cool, so cool, so cool, so cool. This is where, well, his uncle keeps chuckling and says, still, well, other than that, do you have any questions? Issei says, ooh. Where's the sword called, Yamato? The sword? Oh, I have it. Mostly, you realize that this house wasn't actually, bought by me. It was actually built by mostly my grandfather and other stuff, right? Yeah? The swords are kind of right now sealed, mostly underneath the house. Oh. The reason why they're sealed is because their power is quite powerful, and any devil race or mostly whatever race will try to grab them. So of course they seal them away. That being the Yamato, the rebellion, and even Sparta's like sword. And also Nero's sword, but not the point. It says, that's so cool. Would I be able to hold the Yamato? Hold the Yamato? Of course you can probably hold it. Besides, I can hold rebellion pretty easily, even if I haven't trained for years. This is where, well, Issei says, really? Can I go see it? This is where, well, mostly his uncle says, whoa. I can't let you just hold the Yamato. Why not? Well, you do remember when you were younger and I did train you? Yeah? Well, those are basically the basic steps to holding Yamato. Really? There's actually steps to it? Not really, kid, but for real, I'm just kind of don't know if there's actually a curse to put on it or not. If you have to be fully related towards Virgil Sparta. What about Dante Sparta? Well, Dante was not that smart. Ha! I knew it! You would say something bad about him. This is where, well, his uncle scoffs and says, whatever, brat, okay? I say something bad about him. Not the point. I'm telling you right now that I don't know if there will be a curse on it. He says, but can I still touch it? You're not that smart, kid, are you? Oh, come on, just let me touch it. I want to see. This is where, well, we'll see Dante's size. And of course, decide to bring Issei downstairs. But yeah, this is where, well, there's about a couple of seals and of course other weapons. This is where the downstairs, mostly the basement, the door was actually having the seals, like advanced seals that actually seal any power downstairs. And when he opened it, not the power didn't flood out or anything, but this is where Issei felt it, and it was quite powerful. It felt his body shiver up in an instant. This is where Issei still went downstairs just to kind of see the sword, because he was determined to see it. This is where, well, when they get downstairs, the familiars do kind of follow Issei, but they shrunk down to being kind of like baby size, somewhat like this size mostly. So they became small like this. Mostly Nightmare becomes like a sludge. Mostly Shadow becomes like a cat, and mostly Griffin becomes like a small bird. But yeah, on top of Issei's head. And when they're going downstairs, this is where Issei felt so much power right now rushing through his body. Issei right now started panting really hard. And this is where, well, Dante right now puts like a barrier around Issei just so he doesn't pass out throughout this like seeing situation. And this is where when Dante says, so, this is the sword right here. Mostly all the swords. This is where there's rebellion right now. The one Dante grabs it and right now swings it around and saying, see, there's a rebellion right here. This is where, well, Issei saying, that's so cool. This is where Issei noticed the sword Yamato, and this is where, well, Issei started getting closer because he, for some reason, got this pull. Mostly like the sword is pulling towards him. Mostly telling him to grab it. This is where Dante says, no, Issei, don't. This is where when Issei grabs the sword, he feels like power is rushing through him. Like everything is starting to change his body. This is where, well, he then kind of lets go of the sword and of course falls down to the ground, passing out. This is where Dante says, idiot. This is where, well, mostly Griffin says he can't blame the kid. The sword did pull into him. Even if you had the barrier on him, he still managed to grab the sword. He didn't pass out or die. He just passed out. Fine. This is where, well, we go into Issei waking up in the bedroom. One of the kind of like, guest bedrooms. And this is where Issei says, what happened? This is where, well, his Griffin right now appears right in front of him. And this is where, well, familiar, kind of says, well, idiot, it seems that you got some of the power of the Yamato. It seems that you don't seem strong enough to hold it. So, of course, that's why you let go of it. But that's not the point. It seems to unlock your magic. And now your magic is much more powerful. Maybe the same kind of power magic as V. This is where Issei gets up and says, really? He then looks at mostly a mirror and sees his hair being a little bit white. He says, what? Why is my hair white? The power did unlock your mostly Spartan bloodline, making you be able to kind of, well, train your bloodline to hold the Yamato one day. That's where Issei says, I see. Well, I should start training, right? No. You should let your body right now adjust to the power and magical power that you have. This is where, well, he says, I see. This is where, well, he said, what about the booster gear that I have? This is where he summons out booster gear, and this is where his longitis, this is where, well, the booster gear is already in the second liberation. He says, what the hell? This is where, well, we'll see the booster gear starts talking, saying, what the hell? How the hell did you even unlock second liberation? Your body isn't fit or strong enough, yet I feel so much magical power from you. This is where, well, the familiar says, huh, you do have a longitis. I guess you would be the strongest Spartan user ever, or one of the strongest, well, Spartan descendant ever. This is where, well, mostly Drake seems weirded out with the Griffin talking like a bird. This is where, well, Drake says, well, hello there, partner. My name is Drake, or D-Drake, and I am the, mostly, Red Dragon Emperor. It seems that you unlocked the boosted gear quite fast. I thought it would take you forever, because you're one of my weakest. But it seems that mostly this bird says that you're from the Spartan bloodline. I heard of that before. You can't be serious. My host, the weakest host that I thought, is the descendant of Sparta. That's actually so cool. Now I can show Albion who the real motherfucker is when I find him and kick his ass. Yeah! Issei said, what is he talking about? This is where he asked the Griffin. The Griffin says, pretty much I don't understand too much about the whole sacred gear bullcrap, so just ignore him. Just focus more on the Spartan bloodline than focusing on him. Just ignore him entirely. He's probably just a crazy dragon. This is where Drake says, hey, I heard that. Shut the hell up, you damn bird. No. Don't ignore me, kid. What you should do is train on your physical body to use my power more. This is where, well, he says, I'm just gonna ignore you, dragon. This is where, well, Drake says, yeah, you're gonna listen to that stupid bird instead of listening to your dragon? This is where, well, mostly someone walks into a room and says, shut the hell up, all of you. This is where, well, mostly Issei says, Uncle, are you drunken again? What? No, I didn't drink one bit of liquor. This is where Shadow and even was it mostly Golem Nod saying that he is drunken. This is where, well, the bird right now feels like he wants to just faceplant so hard. Issei right now really wants to just hit his face into the fucking wall. And this is where, well, Drake just sweat drops. Well, mostly Issei doesn't hit his face into the wall. He just deadpans. And this is where mostly Drake sweat drops. This is where, well, right now Dante walks away, still drinking. But yeah, and this is where Issei says, I will never understand my uncle. This is where, well, mostly Griffin says, he acts and talks like fucking Dante. I wouldn't even be surprised if Dante lived so long to actually have a child. And yet this child acts and talks like him. I am done. This is where, well, mostly the bird right now just puts mostly his claws on top of Issei, but when it's a smaller version, but yeah. Issei said, so, I should be training on my powers, or let them adjust for a couple of how many days? 2 days. That just means I'm gonna have to be here the whole time. Well, you can also go home. Besides, you can talk to your uncle about sealing your powers, just for a bit, so it doesn't leak out too much. He says, I see. Also, it seems we found out that you're actually 50% devil, and that 50% devil turned into Spartan bloodline. So you're now about 50% human, but that 50% devil is no longer you just being a devil, but mostly mixed the Spartan bloodline. That's where he says it. So I can, yeah, you first gotta train your body. Since you're still a human, it's quite difficult. This is where, well, he says, will my hair keep changing white later on? Oh, of course, it's fully gonna turn white. Then, can I see mostly Virgil's hairstyle? I might just cut it the same like his. Huh? Oh, just because you heard about how Virgil was actually 50% devil and 50% human, you're actually gonna copy his design? Well, my uncle already copied fucking Dante's design, so why not? This is where, well, mostly the familiar chuckles and says, I see. Well, okay. This is where, well, we go into 2 days time skip, and this is where Issei is back at school. Of course, he looks the same, somewhat. He feels different. His energy feels quite like a exorcist somewhat, but not much. Mostly like a devil slayer. This is where, well, Issei mostly in the, well, mostly the 2 days he's been actually kind of reading on about more about the Spartan bloodline. Just, he knows that his uncle probably half-assed version a lot of stuff for what to call the story, so yeah. This is where, well, he then kind of goes to school, and this is where, well, he still has the V book, and of course is reading more about upon it. More of the poems that it has. And he is quite amazed with his uncle. Mostly, not uncle, his great-grandfather being Virgil Sparta. This is where, well, Issei he is holding a gun behind him, like a revolver, similar to that of mostly Nero. And of course, where, well, he is kind of, the gun that he's holding is called Blue Rose. But yeah, it's kind of like a 2 kind of barrel gun, but yeah. So where, well, Issei has it just in case anything happens. He doesn't even care if he has to go to school like that, which he does show up at school with the school uniform, yeah. He's kind of has his other original clothing at mostly the house, and he does have, well, one kind of familiar with him, that being the Griffin, while the other 2 are right now still at the house because he left them at mostly his uncle's house. So, well, Issei has went through the whole day, and mostly when he got towards what they call the Occult Research Club, he's still been reading, and of course almost bumped into Akano. This is where he says, oh, I'm sorry there, Akano-san. Or not Akano, it was Koneko. This is where he says, oh, sorry there, Koneko. This is where Koneko seems surprised of seeing Issei reading a book and not being a pervert. But this is where she still doesn't trust him because, well, yeah, pervert. Issei has been acting different from most of his 2 perverted friends and other stuff, which his 2 perverted friends kind of question him if he was sick, but mostly Issei looks at him, at them with just like an uncaring look. But yeah, Issei says, I'm not sick, idiots. I'm just reading. This is where they say, you're reading magazines, right? I'm reading a book, you idiot. Maybe learn something and read something for once in your goddamn lives. This is where, well, they seem shocked to see Issei reading actually a book. But this is where people are confused why the book just has a V, a big V on it. Someone tries to take the book from Issei, mostly that being like a bully and other stuff, because he was kind of walking past mostly his 2 friends, mostly in class. And this is where when the person tries to grab the book, Issei grabs the person's hand and right now twisted it to breaking it. This is where the person screams and says, what the hell? Ah, you son of a... This is where Issei says, can you shut up? I'm right now reading. This is where Issei said in such a dark tone of voice. He was right now angry and annoyed because he lost where he was at. Issei closed the book in an instant and appeared right in front of the guy, right now grabbing his face and smashing him into the damn table, shutting him up fully. Issei says, shut up. You right now made me lost track of where I was reading at. I'll make your head right now into nothing but blood and mush if you keep screaming in an instant. Issei said with such an angered tone voice. He's acting more like Virgil than was it called ever himself. Issei threw him away and right now went back to reading, but yeah. That's right, Issei flipped the page, but yeah. Everyone was shocked to see Issei acting completely different. This is where, when Issei gets to the Occult Research Club, we go back into him kind of going back. This is where, well, he gets to, well, open the door, and of course, where, well, he closes the book, right now kind of sitting on the couch. And of course, where, well, he just closes it just for a second, of course, sitting down, and of course, waiting for the others to come. This is where, well, Rias is actually showering, even Akano was just there, and this is where she was shocked to see Issei getting there earlier. Of course, Kiba was the actual one being late, and even Azia. This is where, well, Issei opened his book and reading. Back again. This is where, well, Issei is reading the poems that his uncle has left. It's mostly the part of the humanity that the book is kind of right as. The humanity part from his uncle, or not uncle, his grandfather. His great-grandfather. Issei is saying, this is interesting. This is where, well, he's mostly all the kind of words are in cursive, so yeah. This is where Issei is also going to learn how to do cursive later, but not the point. This is where, well, when Rias kind of comes out of the shower, she says, okay, so is everyone in here? Akane says, no, not really. Issei is here, but mostly Ozzy and Kiba hasn't got here. This is where the door opens, and this is where Ozzy and Kiba opens up. And of course, where, well, Rias changes her clothing to going back to the school uniform. This is where, well, Rias said, okay, what we're going to be doing is about the contracts. This is where, well, she goes on with the contract. And this is where, well, Issei looks up, mostly out of his book. And this is where, well, Issei says, contracts. Alright. Since I'm still part of this barrage. Am I part of this barrage? Actually, I have never talked about that. But since my body, mostly the devil's side, did it change? Since I'm now a Sparta, I'm fully a 50% Sparta instead of being 50% devil, then just Sparta. Am I still in this barrage? Huh. That's where he looks to the back of his hand to see the magic circle, and he still has it, but it's kind of fading away. Because, well, he's no longer in this barrage. Actually, the evil pieces that were inside his body were thrown out of his body after a while. Mostly, well, not thrown out of his body, they were just sliced into a million pieces from the Yamato blade. But yeah. He says, huh. That's... Should I say something? Nah. I don't really care. This is where, well, this is where, mostly Rias kind of tells everyone about the contracts and how low they are. Mostly she tells that Ozzy has 2 of them, actually, and she's actually doing good for her first time. And this is where, well, she then says that Issei still has none. But yeah, Issei looks up and says, oh, wait, right, the contracts. Actually, if I'm no longer this barrage, then why should I care too much? Issei thinks about it and says, man, I don't care. This is where, well, Issei is still reading his book, and this is where, well, Rias kind of coughed into her hand and said, Issei, can you please pay attention? Issei looks up and says, huh? Oh, pay attention? Right. This is where, well, he says, sure, I'll pay attention later. This is where, well, mostly they're surprised to see Issei kind of talking back, and this is where, well, Kiba says, Issei-sen, you need to pay attention towards President. She is still kind of your master. This is where, oh, Issei said, huh? Master. Right. Sure. Issei looks up just to kind of fall asleep in his back of his head, but yeah. He's kind of bored out of Rias and the others. Actually, he doesn't even feel kind of a sexual attraction from Rias or mostly Akane or any girl. He just doesn't care. This is where, well, we go into mostly after mostly the talk about the contracts and other things, and Issei needs to kind of hurry up if he wants to get stronger or whatever from the contracts. But Issei doesn't need to do contracts to get stronger. Issei can literally just become stronger over time. But yeah, because he has the Spartan bloodline to be at 50% instead of being at like 14% before. Thanks to the double incarnation. Issei says, yep, sure, I'll be going. Then this is where Issei starts walking away. And this is where, well, we'll say Issei, since he can't teleport, he did kind of just took 2 contracts and say, fuck it, I'll do them later. And then he thinks about it. He noticed the contracts are near his uncle's house, so of course he might just do them just to go to his uncle's house. This is where, well, Issei disappears, just like walking away, but yeah. This is where, well, Issei appears in one of the contract holders, or mostly one of the people that ask for a contract, and it's a female that asks for a contract for Kiba, or anyone entirely, just to help her out. Issei says, you need help. This is where Issei said. This is where he knocked at the door, and the person says, aren't you supposed to be a devil and teleporting? Issei says, okay, you see here, I suck at magic, so, tell me what the hell you need, and if you don't need anything, you want someone else to kind of do it, go ask them. This is where, well, she says, no, I was just moving in. Can you please help me? This is where, well, Issei says, fuck it, I'll help you. This is where, well, Issei goes in, but yeah. But for now, I'm going to end it off here for kind of part 1 of this what if. Part 2 will be later, but yeah. Now, I'm changing up the story. I don't care if people complain about it. I'm going to do that. But other than that, bye, see you, yeah.